January 9, 1932. Springfield Armory, Massachusetts. 10:30 hours. John Cantius Garand, 44, civilian engineer, stood in the testing range as 7 Army officers watched his rifle fire its 8th consecutive shot. 8 rounds. No bolt manipulation. No manual reloading. Just pull trigger, weapon fires, automatically loads next round. Revolutionary concept, terrifying to military traditionalists. The senior officer, Colonel Charles Beasley, stopped the test. "Mr. Garand, your rifle fires too quickly. Soldiers will waste ammunition. Spray bullets wildly. We've seen this with machine guns." Discipline breaks down. Garand, speaking with the French-Canadian accent he'd never lost despite 30 years in America, responded quietly, "Colonel, rifle does not fire itself. Soldier still aims each shot, just eliminates time-wasted working bolt. Bolt-action rifles teach fire discipline. Your automatic rifle encourages recklessness." Garand had heard this argument for 12 years. Since 1920, he'd worked to perfect a semi-automatic rifle. Every year, resistance from traditionalists. Every year, skepticism that farm boy from Quebec could revolutionize infantry weapons. But what happened over next 4 years would prove that America's greatest battle implement came not from West Point, not from military academies, but from an immigrant who started working in textile mills at age 12. By 1932, American military faced an identity crisis about infantry rifles. Every soldier carried bolt-action Springfield 1903. Reliable weapon, accurate, proven in World War I. But there was a problem. Bolt-action rifles required manual operation between shots. Soldier fires, manually lifts bolt, pulls back, ejects spent cartridge, pushes forward, locks down, chambers new round, then aims and fires again. Entire cycle 4 to 5 seconds for trained soldier. Under combat stress, longer rate of fire, 10 to 12 aimed shots per minute maximum. In World War I, this limitation cost lives. German and American infantry exchanged fire at similar rates. Firepower advantage went to whoever had more machine guns. Individual rifleman was secondary. Military theorists concluded, future wars need more automatic weapons, more machine guns per squad. De-emphasize rifleman's role. But some thinkers disagreed. Machine guns were heavy, required crews, needed logistical support. What if individual soldier carried semi-automatic rifle? Rifle that fired as fast as soldier pulled trigger, without manual reloading? This concept fascinated John Garand. Born January 1, 1888, in Saint-Rémy, Quebec, 30 miles south of Montreal. 11th of 12 children in farming family. Life should have been farming, marriage, more farming. But at age 11, 1899, Garand family moved to Connecticut. Danielson, a mill town. Garand's father gave up farming, took mill work. Young Jean, who became John in America, started as bobbin boy at age 12. Textile mill work. Repetitive, hard, dangerous. But mills taught John about machinery, how mechanical systems worked, how to improve efficiency. By age 16, he'd observed enough to design improvements. By 18, he patented 2 inventions, telescopic screw jack and automatic bobbin winding machine. He'd never attended engineering school, never had formal technical training. He watched machines, understood them intuitively, applied that understanding. By 1916, age 28, Garand worked for Brown & Sharp Manufacturing Company in Providence, Rhode Island. Designed precision gauges, developed reputation for solving mechanical problems others couldn't crack. Then World War I arrived. U.S. military needed weapons. Garand started thinking about semi-automatic rifles. He understood mechanical principles, spring power, gas operation, automatic cycling. 1918. Garand submitted rifle design to U.S. Navy. They were interested, invited him to continue development at Bureau of Standards in Washington. November 1919, U.S. Army Springfield Armory hired Garand as civilian engineer. His job, develop semi-automatic rifle to replace Springfield 1903 bolt action. But here's what made this remarkable. Garand competed against established firearms designers. John Patterson from Remington, experienced professional, college-educated, well-connected. The military establishment expected Patterson to win. Garand was outsider, immigrant, self-taught, quiet, spoke with accent. Not the profile of someone who'd revolutionize warfare. Garand's design philosophy differed from Patterson's. Patterson created complex mechanism, multiple parts, sophisticated engineering, impressive to examine. Garand created simple mechanism, fewer parts, easier to manufacture, easier to maintain in field, less impressive to examination, but more reliable under abuse. Between 1920 and 1929, both men refined their designs. Army tested both. Patterson's rifle performed well in clean conditions, failed under dirt, mud, extreme cold. Garand's rifle performed adequately in clean conditions, performed better under abuse. Dirt didn't stop it, mud didn't jam it, cold didn't break it. The reliability difference came from Garand's background. Patterson was professional designer. His experience, clean factories, controlled conditions, theoretical optimization. Garand's experience, dirty textile mills, broken machinery, field repairs. He designed for reality, not theory. But by 1929, Patterson still had military support. His rifle was more sophisticated. Officers preferred sophisticated. Then came budget cuts. Great Depression arrived. Army canceled Patterson's contract. Too expensive, too complex to manufacture at scale. Garand's design continued. Simpler, cheaper, more practical. 932, Garand presented refined design. The rifle that became M1. Gas-operated, semi-automatic, fed from 8-round en-bloc clip. Weight 9.5 pounds. Length 43.5 inches. The demonstration that January morning, 7 officers present, was crucial. If rifle failed, program ends. If rifle succeeded but officers remained unconvinced, program still ends. Garand fired 8 rounds. Smooth cycling. No malfunctions. Then he field-stripped the rifle. Showed internal mechanism. Explained gas operation system. One officer asked, "What happens when gas system gets dirty?" Garand had anticipated this. He reassembled rifle, covered critical parts with mud, dried the mud, then fired 8 more rounds. Weapon functioned perfectly. Mud didn't matter. What about extreme cold? Garand referenced test results from Aberdeen Proving Ground. Rifle tested at -40 degrees Fahrenheit. No failures. What about manufacturing cost? Garand explained. Fewer parts than Patterson design. Simpler machining. Lower production cost. Estimated $85 per rifle at scale. The officers weren't entirely convinced, but they authorized continued development. Garand got 3 more years. 1935. Refined M1 design ready for field trials. Infantry units tested it. Reports came back positive. Soldiers loved it. Rate of fire tripled compared to bolt action. Reliability excellent. January 9, 1936. U.S. Army officially adopted U.S. Rifle, caliber .30, M1. First semi-automatic rifle adopted as standard military weapon by any nation. General Douglas MacArthur, Army Chief of Staff, signed adoption order. He noted in memo, "The M1 rifle represents revolution in infantry capability. Individual rifleman now equals fire effectiveness of 3 bolt-action riflemen." Production began slowly. Springfield Armory geared up manufacturing. First production rifles delivered late 1937. By 1938, infantry units began receiving them. But here's crucial detail. Garand received nothing financially. He could have patented the design, demanded royalties, become wealthy. Instead, he gave the design to U.S. government royalty-free. His reasoning, documented in 1940 interview, "Young men will carry this rifle into combat. They shouldn't pay royalties for their own protection. This rifle is my service to adopted country." By 1945, manufacturers produced over 4 million M1 rifles. At potential royalty rate of $1 per rifle, Garand would have earned $4 million, equivalent to roughly $70 million today. He took nothing. Continued working as government engineer. Salary, $125 per week. Comfortable but modest. WWII 41. Congress considered a $100,000 reward for Garand in recognition of his contribution. The bill failed. Political opposition. Some questioned whether Immigrant deserved such reward. Garand never complained publicly. 1941 newspaper interview asked how he felt about Congress rejecting reward. His response, "I design rifles. Congress handles money. Both do our jobs." But U.S. military recognized value. Garand received multiple honors: Legion of Merit, Gold Medal for Meritorious Service, Army commendations. These mattered more to him than money. The M1's combat debut came December 1941. Philippines. American and Filipino troops faced Japanese invasion. Units equipped with M1 rifles reported significant firepower advantage. One after-action report, January 1942. Individual soldiers with M1 rifles hold defensive positions that previously required three-man teams. Rate of fire allows single riflemen to suppress enemy advance effectively. Throughout World War II, M1 proved itself. Europe, Pacific, North Africa. Every theater, every condition. The rifle worked. General George Patton, speaking to troops in 1945, called it the greatest battle implement ever devised. That quote became famous, defined M1's legacy. But what made M1 truly revolutionary wasn't just mechanical design. It was philosophical shift. Before M1, military theory emphasized crew-served weapons, machine guns, artillery. Individual riflemen was secondary. M1 made individual riflemen primary again. One soldier with M1 provided firepower equivalent to small crew-served weapon. Tactics changed. Squad sizes decreased. Maneuver flexibility increased. German soldiers captured in 1944 consistently mentioned M1 in interrogations. Obergefreiter Hans Schmidt, captured in Normandy, told interrogators, "American riflemen fire so quickly we think they have machine guns. Then we see their rifles." Single soldiers. Very demoralizing. Japanese reports similar. After battles in Pacific, Japanese commanders reported American infantry firepower far exceeded expectations. Small units held positions that should have required much larger forces. Statistical analysis, U.S. Army 1947 study. M1-equipped infantry units achieved objectives with 30% fewer casualties compared to equivalent bolt-action-equipped units. Firepower advantage saved lives. Production continued through Korean War. By 1957, over 5 million M1 rifles manufactured. It served American military for 22 years as standard rifle. Longest service period for any American standard infantry weapon, M1, was finally replaced by M14 rifle in 1957. The M14 was essentially improved. M1, gas-operated, semi-automatic, based on Garand's original design principles. Garand himself contributed to M14 development. Throughout his career, Garand remained humble. He retired from Springfield Armory in 1953, age 65. Moved to small house in Springfield, Massachusetts. Lived quietly with wife Nellie. He rarely gave interviews. Avoided publicity. When reporters found him, he deflected credit. 1963 interview, Springfield Union newspaper. "I designed one successful rifle. That's my contribution. Soldiers who carried it did the real work." Interviewer asked about his immigrant background. Whether being Canadian-born affected his reception in American military establishment. Garand's response. Some people cared about accent. Most people cared about whether rifle worked. Rifle worked. That's what mattered. But privately, colleagues knew discrimination happened. Other engineers, American-born, received faster promotions, better assignments. Garand, despite his success, remained civilian engineer. Never rose to administrative positions. Did this bother him? No record suggests it did. Garand cared about engineering, about solving problems, not about titles. He died February 16, 1974, age 86, buried at Hillcrest Park Cemetery in Springfield. Funeral attended by family, friends, few former colleagues. No military ceremony. No fanfare. He wouldn't have wanted it. Obituary in Springfield Union, February 17, 1974. 5 paragraphs. Mentioned M1 rifle, noted his immigrant background, emphasized his humility and dedication to craft. Final paragraph quoted his 1963 interview. Good engineering serves people. That's the only measure that matters. Today, John Garand's legacy lives in museums worldwide. Every major military museum displays M1 rifles, marked as revolutionary weapon, marked as turning point in infantry warfare. Springfield Armory National Historic Site, now National Park Service Site, has permanent exhibit about Garand. Tells his story, immigrant boy who became master engineer. The exhibit includes one of his original design drawings, hand-sketched, precisely detailed, beautiful engineering work. Visitors study it, try to understand genius behind simple lines, but genius wasn't in complexity. Genius was in simplicity. Garand understood. Reliable weapon needs fewer parts, not more. Effective weapon needs to work in worst conditions, not just best. That understanding came from his background. Textile mills, broken machinery, field repairs, years of practical experience, not textbook learning. Military establishment initially doubted him. Immigrant, self-taught, quiet. But the rifle spoke louder than credentials. Modern lesson. Best solutions sometimes come from unexpected people. Garand shouldn't have succeeded by traditional measures. No formal education, foreign-born, working-class background. But he understood the problem better than credentialed experts. He'd worked with machinery all his life, knew what broke, knew what lasted, applied that knowledge, and he gave it freely. Never demanded payment, never sought fame, just wanted to serve adopted country, wanted to protect young men who'd carry his rifle. 4 million young Americans carried M1 rifles in World War II, thousands more in Korea. Many came home because that rifle's reliability gave them firepower, advantage in critical moments. Garand never met most of them, never knew their names, but each one benefited from Quebec farm boys' decision, made decades earlier, to understand machinery better than anyone else. That's American dream in its purest form. Not wealth, not fame, just opportunity to contribute, to serve, to build something that helps others. John Garand lived that dream, built greatest battle implement ever devised, asked nothing in return, died modestly, remembered gratefully. Next time someone tells you great innovation requires credentials, advanced degrees, proper background, remember John Garand. Remember textile mill worker. Remember self-taught engineer. Remember immigrant who spoke with accent. Remember the rifle that worked when it mattered most, because its designer understood. Simple, reliable, effective beats. Sophisticated, complex, impressive. Every time.